Hello, and a wonderful day to you. It is a beautiful Onpassive day here today, and I hope that your day is going even better than mine. We know that Onpassive is just about enter the next phase, so before I get into some fun stuff, I'd like to outline the differences between the founder, the reseller, and the customer, and talk briefly about passwords. The founder position is only available in pre-launch. Founders build networks through paid traffic and Onpassive founder exclusive marketing that's going to happen once we launch. We call them super campaigns. Founders are resellers and can also be a customer. The reseller and customer are the only positions that are available after we launch. Resellers offer Onpassive products to customers. Customers subscribe to Onpassive products. And both of these build networks through paid traffic and individual effort. Neither of these can be a founder. Now, a little bit about passwords. Passwords need to be changed often. And you need to keep a hard copy of them somewhere safe, right? The longer they are, the better they are, especially if they have a mixture of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. And if you keep the system reset that you get, the password you get as a reset password, which is only meant to be temporary, you're running the risk of inviting a whole lot of trouble because you have very effectively relinquished any control. Well, you've relinquished total control anyway of that password. If you're not the only one with sole access to it, that opens you up for bad things to happen. Now, by that I mean if it lives somewhere other than your PC or your head, right? And if you don't change the reset password, that means that somebody's got a trail to it somewhere. But anyway, rather, you need to change the system-generated passwords when you get the reset password, and you keep it strictly under your control. So, all right, moving on. You know, a lot of founders lately are a little antsy about what to expect when it comes to sales and earnings in their networks, right? I got lots of emails seemingly every day where somebody is asking about what to expect as we move forward. And usually those questions are wrapped around customers and usually money somehow. So I want to take some time to go through a half a dozen basic account related questions that are important to understand as we prepare for the ofounders to go online. Because as you know, I think we got the finish line in sight. So anyway, incidentally, that's the first thing that's got to happen in order for us to move forward, because ofounders is a small scale working model for Onpassive. It has to be perfect because we need it to be online for the VIP launch, and it's going to be the ofounders is going to be methodically scaled up to what we know is a massive Onpassive. And as we go through these questions, I have what I hope will be a little bit of a special treat for you to have some fun at the end. So anyway, all right. Question number one that continually seems to come up is, what if I don't have anybody in my team? Well, you're still going to be all right. Once we go through the official Onpassive launch, just make sure you pay that first subscription so you start getting traffic to build your network so that you're going to be successful eventually, right? That's if there's just one founder, nobody in your team. Pay the first subscription. You will be successful eventually. And I say eventually because we've all got different definitions of success. Depending on who it is, success might mean you want, you know, $5,000 a year, or $50,000 a year, or $500,000 a year, or like me, $5 million a year, or any number in between. So you're going to be okay. Just pay the subscription and you're going to be all right. Question number 2 is, what if I can't afford my subscription? Well, I would suggest you find somebody that can, because if you don't fund the account initially, then you're not going to have the traffic that you need. Or let me put it this way, Onpassive won't be generating the traffic that you need. I mean, you could still do it on your own, I guess. And you're not going to have a lot of the other premium products to grow your network and your net worth, right? As marketing by Onpassive, which is very limited in the case of unfunded accounts, begins to generate profits organically from your site through various methods that will be there, you're eventually going to earn enough to fund the account. Once that happens, boom, the bell rings and you're off to the races. So the next question is, what's the best way to fund multiple accounts? Well, obviously, pay cash for them. As soon as we open, that's the best way. But seriously, if you can afford to fund them all, do it. That's going to be like rocket fuel to your success. If not, try every means you have available. Credit, equity lines, personal loans from friends and family, whatever you can do, right? But if you just can't seem to do it, then fund your primary account first, and as money becomes available, fund the next biggest accounts until you get them all funded. That'll work for you. That's what I'm planning on doing. The next question is, what if I can't afford to fund all my subscriptions? Well, then fund the primary account. Fund the biggest network, because that's likely going to provide most income to you in the shortest time, and then you can use the profits from other accounts to fund, from that account rather, to fund the other accounts. So another question that comes up is there going to be time to pay that subscription? Will there be a grace period? Yes, there will be a grace period, so to speak, or a period of time to allow the accounts to be fully funded. Now, Mr. Mufareh has provided that much information, but he hasn't given us the duration of that period. I don't think they've determined it yet. They don't know right now exactly how long is going to be allowed, but he has made it clear that we will have time to make sure that we're able to get our accounts funded. And if not fully funded, it'll be really close. So the next question is, how soon can I expect to make any money? Well, that depends. How big is your network? If you start with one account and zero in your team, don't expect anything in the VIP launch, right? As an extremely conservative guess, with one person and no team, you may start earning a couple months after we launch. But we'll take a good look at that by looking at your potential customers toward the end of this video with a little calculator I've got. Now, the next question is, how often are we going to get paid? Quite simply, whenever a sale is made and payments collected. We're going to be getting paid in real time, 24/7. There is no wait period. There is no requesting for payments, and the money drops in real time right into your wallet, and you can transfer it whenever you want. So the next question is, what about taxes? Well, the money coming into your taxes is going to be handled by a processor outside of Onpassive. This is to say that Onpassive is not going to have their little fingers in the till, so to speak, and that alleviates the possibility of anyone in the company playing fast and loose with the financials. As a result, any tax forms and things of that nature, like the 1099s if you live in the USA, are going to be issued by whatever processor that is. However, I think it would be a very, very good move for you to start looking into getting an accountant, because you're going to be having some money roll in and you're going to need to take care of it. Another question is, how do I turn over an account to somebody? Well, right now, that's a pretty easy thing to do. You got a couple of things and you could do it. Number one, give control of the email account that is linked to that GoFounders account to the person that you want to have. All right? Number two, Give control of the ofounders account to the person you want them to have or want to have it of the GoFounders account. So give them control of the email for it and give them control of the ofounders account. When that person has access to the email account, say Gmail, they can change the phone number and the password and the profile and whatever. They can literally take it over, so now they own that account. When you give them the ofounders account in the same way, they can go in and change the profile. They can answer any emails because that email is now theirs, right? So it makes it really easy. All you have to do is turn access over to it and let it go. They can have it. They can handle it. But if you wait until after the official Onpassive launch, after the official paperwork is done to secure the account, right, to transfer the account to another person, you're going to need to go through Onpassive legal for that. And that might take a little more effort. So keep that in mind. Now that we've got that stuff pretty much out of the way, let me give you a little disclaimer here before I start using a calculator for trying to see what your potential numbers are. These are not actual components or figures of the Onpassive pay plan or the funding structure. They are designed to give you an idea of what is possible. Earnings are going to vary depending on individual effort, and income amounts presented here in no way serve as a guarantee of income. This entire exercise that we're about to undergo is just to spur your imagination and get you to dream a little bit bigger, because it's not a big step to imagining your income once you see these numbers, okay? Now, concerning the super campaigns, we've always said that we believe once we go through the official Onpassive launch, they're going to generate a minimum of 3 customers per founder in a 60-day period or cycle. That is very realistic. It's very, very conservative. I mean, it could certainly be more, perhaps 10, perhaps 20. We just don't know, because we have things that I call wild cards that I simply cannot predict, or we can't predict. I don't think anybody can. All right? Mr. Mufareh has talked about some of these. One of them is the actual marketing results. And until we unleash the Kraken, we're not going to be able to know what it can do. Another one is the built-in bonuses and such, and all the little freebies that Ashley's got built into the pay plan. And another one is the overflow. We're all expecting some, but nobody can gauge. Nobody knows what it's going to be, and there's no way for us to predict it. So for simplicity, I'm going to explain using 6 cycles of 2 months each and let the process run out for a full year. I'll explain the cycles, and we can actually see it live on a calculator. Now, these cycles, as I explain them, there's 6 of them, right? You've got the dates. I'm running them 2 months apiece. So the first is obviously January through February, if of any year that we launch. This is all hypothetical. So the first 2 months, the next 2 months, the next 2 months, all the way through that way. So you have 6 cycles of 2 months each, right? The sales column you're looking at is the number of potential customers that we expect as a result of each of the cycles. As you can see, at the end of the year, at the end of November, December cycle, it looks like there is 729 customer sales or customer accounts in this one founder account. So it's not a hard sell to understand that one founder by the end of the year, because that's what you're seeing up in the January 1st line, is that one founder. And then throughout all 6 of the cycles, they add up, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, add them all up, 729, and that's what gives you at the end of the year $729. Now, just off the top of your head, if you thought, okay, if I got $1 a month for each one of those, that's $729 a month by the end of the year, minus what it costs for my subscription, between $200 and $300. Any way you look at it, you're looking at just over $400 a month, hypothetically, and if that's just sitting back doing nothing. Now, that's potentially what one founder account could do if the marketing is done by Onpassive, right? And whether we use those numbers or not, the point is this. We can very reasonably expect anywhere from like 200 to 800 customers by the end of the first post-launch year, and that is in an account that has just is one account. One founder can expect anywhere from 200 to 800 customers by the end of the first year, and that's using the numbers we just used. Now remember, what we just laid out is the expectation for a single founder that's doing nothing to help generate success, right? It's a founder that's sitting back and is counting on the system to go through its processes and do it all for them, which it will do. Under this scenario, the member ends up with commissions on just over 700 sales, right? And that's 700 sales per month because it's residual. And that comes from the customers paying subscriptions for products, sales that were put in the members network by Onpassive. So no matter how you look at this, going into the second year, any member should be very, very happy with the residual income that's being generated. And how you feel in the second year when you have 5,000 or 10,000 customers or more and you've barely lifted a finger to help yourself, it should be ecstatic. You should be absolutely ecstatic. Have you ever generated that for yourself? Have you ever known anybody to generate 5 or 10 or 15,000 customers or a network of that many people that are making purchases month after month after month? Well, I've often said that 95% of our success is going to be from the work that Onpassive does for us. And this is all run through automation. And this is the AI that we've been talking about. And we have barely scratched the surface here. And we haven't even started yet talking about earnings. It's just about putting sales, putting numbers of customers in your network. But we're getting to the calculator here. And once you just start in your head, putting some numbers to that, it's going to floor you. It will floor you. And I'll give you a little information that'll help you kind of foster your dream engine in your brain there, because we do need to keep in mind that even though the calculator spits all this stuff out for us, this is not a get-rich-quick business plan. That's not the way it's actually been set up to build wealth over time that becomes generational wealth, which is transferable, right? It's willable. It becomes your legacy. And keep in mind, before we get started with that little calculator too, that the potential for customers to come in and do better than a founder that does nothing is there. The potential for a customer to come in after we open to the public and generate hundreds of thousands of customers or more is there. That's probably going to happen. It won't be the norm, but it will probably happen. I mean, how many, do you know any people personally? I mean, I don't, but I know they're out there. There are marketing programs out there that have millions in them, and people have 10s and 20 and 30,000 in their downline. And it is not unforeseeable, right, for them to snag a good portion of those and migrate them right over into Onpassive as soon as they get in. So with that, let's take a look at the calculator. Okay, so here we are with the calculator, and you can tell if you look over here, I've got some columns that are squeezed in tight so you can't see them. What we've got are the estimated earnings in this column, and then over here it switches over to a dollar amount. So by the time you get over down at the bottom, it'll actually give you what is a residual anticipation for income, potential income. But I don't want to go there because, man alive, I can just see people running these numbers and putting all these numbers out there. It freaks some people out. So anyway, look up here at the number 1 here. That is the total founders. So the calculator is going to work like this. If you put 1 in there, and then you come down here and you look at the cycles, right? January, February, 60 days. March and April, 60 days. May and June, 60 days. Running all the way out to the end of the year, November, December, 60 days. And that's the 6th cycle. Each cycle is anticipated to provide 3 customers per founder per cycle, right? So that means that at the end of the first one, you've got 3. At the end of the second, you've got 9. Then you've got 27. Then you've got 81, 42, 43, and 729. Now, I also put over here, just for grins and giggles, because I'll make this portion of the calculator available for people that want it, but I'm not going to include the money portion of it because I don't want the money out there on the internet. But the customers per level, this is level 1. That's going to be your first level. That's going to be your personals. And everything else under that, these are all random. I have no idea how they're going to play out because we don't know how active these people are going to be. But either way, you've got 729 by the end of the first year post-launch, which is what you're showing here. Now, think about this for a minute. If all you got was $1 per sale, right? That's going to give you $729 per month, right? Because this is residual. And then you take out the between $250 and $300, you take that out because that's what your subscription costs are. You're still sitting at a very comfortable $430 a month residual after 1 year of doing absolutely nothing. Now, what happens if you come up to the founders and you say, okay, well, I've been working my tail off pretty hard. I'm not a marketer. I've done okay. And so I've got 7 founders. And you plug in number 7 there. And then you come over and you go enter, enter. Well, it just ran it through for you. At the end of the first year post-launch, you now got a little over 5,000 customers. So you can see why that might be a little bit exciting, because if you're getting $1 per customer, or per sale actually, that's $5,000 a month right there by the end of the first year. So you can see the difference that it'll make is if you go in with 1 founder and don't do anything, but in pre-launch you've been busy so that when we launch, and then you actually go into with 7. Or how about those people that have 10? Not bad, right? How about these people that have been rather busy and they've got 150 people and they're just waiting to crack at books? You see this, right? At the end of the first year, potentially, they're looking at 109,350 customers. That's not too shabby, especially when we consider that by the end of the first year, we're going to have, in my opinion, 100 million plus. So that's a doable number. And that directly translates, if you're getting $1 a piece, that's your monthly income right there. Now think about it. How about if you got 150 people and they're all founders and you're thinking, well, some of these guys I haven't heard from them. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to assume only 50% of them are going to actually fund their accounts and get rolling. Well, if 50% of your team funds and your team is 150, that's still $54,000 a year. Minus, obviously, $300 a month for subscriptions or whatever it's going to be. How about if it's only 10% of your team? That's still $10,000, $11,000 a year. So, when we were talking about how big things can get, how many teams out there, look at the leaderboard. How many teams out there have 500 people? And if it's 100% funded, $364,000 a month, not too shabby, right? So you can see how these numbers work here. So if I go back to 1 and we say, okay, now see this 3 down here? That's your customers gained per cycle. So this is saying for each one of these cycles here, right? Each one of these, you're gaining a multiplier of 3. And that number comes from right here. So how about if you wanted your marketing to reflect something different? Maybe you didn't think we were going to get 3. Maybe you thought, you know what? I'm going to see what 1 a month does. So this is 2. So if you mark that to be 2, right? Because now it says in a 60-day period, one every 30 days, that's once a month, you get 2. What's that going to leave me with? Not too shabby, I guess, for doing nothing. If you only get 2, it gives you $64. That's monthly income right there. So And going into the second year, I mean, when you double that up, and then it'll go exponentially. So even in the second year, you're really going to make some good money. But what if on the other end, you come down to that 2 and you say, you know what, I'm feeling like Clint Eastwood. I'm feeling lucky. So what if I happen to get 5 and they bring us in 5? Can you imagine? You're one founder after the first year just turned into $15,500. And if you're getting paid $1 a piece for those, that's $15,000 a month. So, not too shabby. So you can change the total founders. You can change the function here. You can change all of these numbers if you want to. I probably wouldn't. I'll be honest with you. It's a whole lot more fun when I'm looking at the dollars. And I got 2 columns off to the right that you can't see that show me the dollar amounts. But anybody with a little bit of dream mechanism in your brain there, you can look at these numbers and you can say, okay, what if I'm making, $3 per level or something like that? I mean, these numbers, just something to make you think that is capable. If you look at the old excuse me. Excuse me, the old pay plan that we had a long time ago, back when the world was young, at the $250 level, which is about what we're expecting here, the commissions were $10 in level 1, $25 per person or per sale in level 2, $10 in level 3, and $8 in level 4. So by me putting $1 up here, what do you think the odds are that it's going to be a lot better than that? I mean, I don't know. It's all potential. I have no idea. I'm just saying that Mr. Mufareh has told us many, many times that this is way bigger and way better than you ever thought. So hang on to your hats. And we are back, and I thank you so much for letting me go through that. I had a lot of fun making that that calculator. And, boy, I'll tell you, when you start looking at the money, and it doesn't take a lot of imagination when you compare the customers you're getting, and each customer is worth so many apples, then let me tell you something. You start getting antsy and you'll start losing sleep. So if you're not a founder and somebody invited you to become a founder, please get back with that founder and join that team. They will be extremely glad that you did, and I'm sure that you will too. And if you have not, then I'm inviting you. Join our team. Please click the link in the description box below and join us. Just fill out the registration and we will look forward to working with you. I know that you're going to be successful, and just please keep in mind that regardless of what you do and how fast you work this thing, we go on a beat, boy.